Hey guys, it's me, Cute Fuzzy Weasel, and since this is the first episode really of fall that I'm not in costume, boy be the dread cop weasel. You all know what time it is, pumpkin spice time! So I'm drinking a pumpkin spice latte after enjoying some pumpkin spice Cheerios with pumpkin spice ham that infuses me with pumpkin spice blood! But that's not what today's episode is about. No, today's episode is on sentient tubing vegetables. Specifically this guy, Irvin Baxter. You see, a few months ago, I discovered that my episode on Irvin Baxter got taken down by a copyright strike. And I had to deal with that. Again. And the thing is, I forgot about that episode. It's not even a very good one. I mean, I'm just sitting in front of a computer. The sound isn't all that good. I've got that ridiculous fail-fro going on. But evidently, it hurt somebody's feelings. So much so that End Times Ministries personally stepped in and took it down. Don't worry, it's back up. Click right there and watch it if you want. So since Irvin evidently needs more attention, I'm here to provide. So sit back and enjoy. This is Irvin Baxter's video on climate change. Spoiler alert, he thinks it's all a New World Order conspiracy.
Well, it's the issue that just will not go away.
Just like greenhouse gases.
The politicians are determined to convince the people of America and the world that the climate is warming, that the snow caps are going to melt, and that we're all going to drown.
Even if every single piece of ice on the planet turned into water, we'd still have lots of land to live on. Whether or not that land would be farmable is a different story.
Unless we do something very dramatic and drastic about it.
Yeah. If we had tackled this issue back in the 50s when we started learning about it, maybe no, but yeah, unfortunately, that's the position we find ourselves in. I'm sorry. Global warming's a scam. It's being set up by Obama and the UN and Agenda 21. Please ignore how I was told this by companies that fucking own oil wells.
That's what we're facing. Of course, just yesterday, President Obama announced that he had reached a climate change agreement with China.
That China will totally abide by.
The United States and China are the two biggest offenders as far as emitting gas house emissions.
It's the bean-rich diet, isn't it?
Carbon emissions into the air. Therefore, for a long time, people have theorized that if the emissions of the United States of America and China could be brought under control, it would go a long way toward bringing the carbon emissions of the world under control.
Unfortunately, no! Not anymore! Even if everything stopped and our carbon footprint went down to zero globally, we still got all the carbon in the fucking air! We're still gonna get fucked! The question now is, how badly are we gonna get fucked? Are we gonna get just a little fucked and modern technology will be able to solve the problems? Or are we gonna get really fucking fucked? Chances are it's somewhere in the middle. I have a feeling we're gonna get really fucking fucked in a few areas. But I also think modern technology is really gonna help mitigate a lot of these problems. Specifically genetic engineering, green technologies, and newer water reclamation systems. But yeah, in the next 30 years, we're gonna get fucked. And it's gonna get bad in a few places.
Now, this article just appeared. I want you to hear it exactly like it is. White House in China set historic greenhouse emissions levels.
Keep in mind, this video is actually from a few years ago before the Paris climate talks. I tried to look for newer videos of his, but everything on his channel that's under 59 fucking minutes is done by this guy. I don't know who the fuck that is. I want to go after Irvin, but I don't want to take 3 hours doing it. And I definitely don't want a multi-part episode right now. I've got too many continuing projects for October.
And this just came out yesterday from Beijing on CNN. At the end of a trade summit in China, U.S. President Barack Obama announced a climate change agreement with Chinese President Xi Jinping that would cut both countries' greenhouse gas emissions by close to a third over the next 2 decades.
Cutting our emissions by a third over the next 2 decades is really too little, too late.
Under this agreement, the United States would cut between 26 and 28% of the level of its carbon emissions.
Okay, so I'm going to skip ahead a little bit because right now he's just reading the article. If you guys want to read the article, the link is down below. But yeah, we're going to skip forward like 40 seconds here.
A senior administration official calls the goals both ambitious and achievable, but also acknowledged that U.S. domestic politics would put a damper on the announcement, saying leading climate deniers in the GOP might try to stop the initiative. The official hinted the president may act alone if necessary.
And they tried, because that's what they fucking do. That's what happens when you elect people into office, and this is who they're fucking beholden to. Not saying the Democrats are much better, because they're not, but at least they're fucking trying.
Now, even though the scientists like to say, oh, everybody knows it's true, all scientists agree.
That's because, yes, most of them do.
Except for these few wacky global warming deniers. That's what they try to say, but yet without proving it.
Actually, yes, they have. Here's the thing, though. Showing people like Irvin the evidence is pointless. Because they just come back with, well, how do you know that one? Oh, what was your source? Oh, you can't trust mainstream scientists. Mainstream scientists believe in evolution. And that gay people don't have bones in their brains that resemble demon skeletons. And they're definitely trying to spin the facts in favor of a globalist New World Order satanic UN fucking agenda to come and take our guns away and make us all get gay butt sex and force us all into FEMA concentration camps where they'll beat the Christianity out of us. And we must stand tall and fast against UN oppression, because the UN has so much fucking power. I mean, after all, every time the UN intervenes in something, it just goes their way. It's not like they're a bloated, mostly impotent, united for the sake of name recognition only group of mostly disinterested countries. No, they're an evil, satanic plot set up by the Luciferian world agenda. And you might laugh, but those people are real. And they vote more often than you, millennials. Because voting is hard. I mean, I know we have early voting, and I try to get to the polls, but come on. I've got to catch up on The Walking Dead, and I got to play Fallout 4. Sorry, I'm going off on an old man rant here.
Here's the bottom line. There is no global warming.
Yes, there is. And it's very, very real, and it's very, very dangerous.
And yet, President Obama is determined to make this one of the hallmarks of his last 2 years.
Yeah, and he's kind of naive that way.
And notice that he's willing to act without the approval of Congress.
Because they won't get anything fucking done! We could have a goddamn comet heading straight for Earth, about to slam dead center in the middle of the United States. And if it happened under Obama's watch or Hillary's watch, if she gets in, and the Republicans were still in control of Congress and the Senate, they would try and combine funding for the mission to destroy the apocalypse world-ending comet with defunding Planned Parenthood and getting rid of any kind of gun legislation and keeping them damn gays from getting married and getting rid of Obamacare, because we'd rather see the whole earth catch on fire than live in a world where Steve and Michael can get married. Fuck these people.
He's going to do this sort of like a dictator would do.
Fuck you! You don't know what a fucking dictator is! Here's a hint, Spud Boy. If Obama was a dictator, a real fucking dictator, you wouldn't be there right now. You think he'd let you speak? You think any dictator would let you speak?
Now, will he get by with it? It depends on whether there's any strong leadership in Congress to stop him or not.
Is there leadership to stop him? Oh yeah, there's lots of obstructionists in Congress.
He believes he has the mandate to do it. Okay, now what's going to happen here? This is not an official treaty.
Yeah, so really it's kind of a meaningless piece of paper with some friendly suggestive guidelines. What a dictator! We're doomed to a communist state!
An official treaty would have to be approved by 2/3 of the Senate. He knows he can't get that. So he's simply going to create these policies and do them voluntarily. Now, if the next president that comes along decides not to follow these policies, then the whole thing could come unraveled.
Much like a real dictator, Obama creates policies that his successors could easily overrule.
Why do we care? This is a Bible program. This is a prophecy program. So why are we talking about the climate?
Why does the rest of the world care, or why do you care? The rest of the world cares because we don't want to starve to death in a desert. You care because your brain turned into peanuts.
On politics and religion today? Well, because there are people in our world who are absolutely determined to lead the United States of America and the entire world into a one world government system.
That's the reason we can't do anything about global warming. Lizard people.
And the vehicle that they believe can be used to put us into this global government system is the global warming issue, now renamed to climate change because they found out there is no global warming.
It's called climate change because as global temperatures rise, climates will change. It's also a more accurate name because while greenhouse gases do create generally a more warmer planet, the real consequence of this will be temperature extremes at both ends. So we'll have longer, hotter summers and longer, much, much colder winters with very little variation in between, which could mean no more pumpkin spice.
So they just simply by sleight of hand, change the name from global warming to climate change.
Because scientists are magicians and witches.
I mean, it hasn't warmed in the last 17 years.
Wrong, sir. Wrong. It has. It's been warming almost every year. Almost every year is warmer than the previous fucking year.
And so the global warming thing has become laughable. Nevertheless, this cause is so important and they have so much invested in promoting it that now then they're using the media to harp away and to repeat over and over and over and over again that we actually are experiencing climate change and that it will destroy the world unless we save the world by the reduction of carbon emissions.
No. First off, reducing carbon emissions won't save the world. It'll only keep us from getting really, really fucked. Second, you think the media are doing a fucking good job? They take someone who's got fucking years of experience in the field showing this shit to be real, and they take his advice as equally as someone like you who sits on their fucking ass all day, every day, reading the same fucking book for 127 years.
Now, how would this lead into world government? Well, the theory is this. We all drink the same water, we all breathe the same air, and therefore, if you're going to have pure water and pure air, you've got to have international law to regulate the pollutants in air and pollutants in water.
Yes, because no regulation leads to this.
The only way you can do that is for some kind of a climate change agreement underneath the auspices of the international community, preferably under the United Nations.
No, because the UN can't do anything. In reality, what you need are nations to go along with the fucking treaty on their own. China and India need to fucking do this. Emerging developing nations need to fucking do this. The United States needs to fucking do this. And stop lying to ourselves about clean coal. There's no such thing as clean coal.
Now, if there is no climate change, then we've got a real problem here because now we don't have any reason to pass all these international laws.
And like any global dictatorial system, they need reasons to pass laws.
Let me make sure you understand what these laws are going to look like. Actually, they envision every human being on the planet having a carbon footprint.
You do.
Which means you emit so many carbon emissions.
Yeah, through the action of using as much power as I use to driving as much as I do. Yes! I have a carbon footprint. This show has a carbon footprint. I'm under no illusion that these lights and this camera and this sound equipment and the laptop over there and everything else in this room and the air conditioning in this room all use power. Power that I guarantee you is not coming from a wind farm or a solar farm. So yeah, this show is adding to the fucking carbon footprint. And the website that this goes on to is going to be run on servers that are not operating 100% renewable energy. Everything and everyone has a carbon footprint.
Now, what they want to do is give every person on the planet their own personal allotment. When they exceed that allotment, they will have to start paying for them. They actually will have to buy carbon credits. Now, they're already doing this in Europe, so this is not a pipe dream we're speaking of here. They're going to have to buy carbon credits, and they have to buy those from someone who has more than they need, which means they'll buy them from someone in a third world country that doesn't have industrialization, that are not emitting as many carbon emissions.
Actually, the danger is third world countries are going to emit far more carbon emissions because they don't have an adequate industrial system yet. That's why there's a lot of focus on getting third world industrial sectors up to a modern standard, so they don't have to go through all the bullshit that we went through in the industrial age.
This is one of the methods of producing wealth redistribution.
Oh, fuck off with your wealth redistribution. You're a bigger moocher than some people I know that actually do gain the welfare system.
The people who are pushing this all worship at the Marxist altar.
Because Alex Jones told me so.
And they believe that wealth redistribution is the way to bring about the ideal world of total equality between all peoples in the world.
There's never going to be total equality between all peoples in the world, even if we start expanding out into space, like, by the way, we need to. There's always going to be someone getting stepped on. That's just a fact. Unless everyone sheds their organic form and we all get transferred into machine bodies and can all just fuck off and go wherever the hell we want, there's always going to be inequality. That's not to say that trying to mitigate it is not a noble goal and can lead to increased happiness, because it can. That just means that it's impossible. And while it's true that, yes, the road to hell is paved with good intentions, that doesn't necessarily mean that you dismiss all good intentions outright.
They're envisioning this massive transfer of wealth from the have nations to the have-not nations.
No, they envision a world that's not Mad Max.
So it's all the one world government Marxist vision that's driving this whole concept, that's driving President Obama to do what he is doing right now, and all the rest of the people that promote the fallacy of climate change.
Yes, it's not facts and actual data, it's Satanism.
The bottom line is, there is no global warming. We're going to show you that a little bit later on. But these myths have been promoted over and over until they've been promoted in the colleges, they've been promoted in the media, until if you don't believe in global warming, well, you're just an uneducated fool.
Maybe you're not a fool, but yeah, you're definitely ignorant in a few places.
Now let me give you the rest of the article. Congress may try to stop us, but we believe that with the control of Congress changing hands, we can proceed with the authority we already have. So they're saying, look, Congress is going to fight us. The people of the United States of America don't believe in global warming.
Says who? What study where shows that?
They're going to fight us, but what can you expect from normal people? They're basically uneducated and don't know what they should do anyway.
While it's true that the political class actually does think that about you, really, they do? This guy's only using it because on this particular issue, he disagrees with that sentiment. I guarantee you, if it was the Congress going against the will of the American people because they didn't want gay marriage to be around, this guy would be sitting there like, the regular people have been brainwashed to believe in gay sex marriage until AIDS death.
I mean, that's the concept here. So we're going to do it in spite of what Congress says, in spite of what the people say. The article goes on to say the official added, this is really the crusade of a narrow group of people who are politically motivated and have made this a cause célèbre, but we believe we will be successful.
And it is, but they weren't.
So they're saying the people who oppose our efforts for climate change, for global warming, they are politically motivated.
I would honestly say both sides are extremely politically motivated, yeah.
But the truth of the matter is, the people promoting climate change and global warming are the ones that are politically motivated. Because the truth of the matter is, there is no global warming taking place. Now, that's not hard to believe because of the horrible Arctic winds that are sweeping across the United States of America right now.
You mean that sudden extreme variation in climate? Yeah.
The administration hopes to sell the plan back home by touting the anticipated savings on energy costs. Consumers and businesses will save literally billions of dollars, a senior administration official said.
And that's a great angle to play it by, because as we start to plateau in our oil production, yeah, the barrel of oil's gonna go fucking high. Fracking's really taken the edge off, but that won't last. And the consequences of earthquakes and poisoned groundwater are not going to keep things down for long. So yeah, switching to a different fuel source and a renewable energy economy will save us a shit ton of money in the long term.
When I read this, I couldn't help but laugh because all of us have been told that when you moved from our present sources of energy to other sources of energy, it's going to be much more expensive. There's going to be a big price to pay.
Yes, in the short term, absolutely. Think of it this way. You have a car, and the oil gauge in the car is telling you that the oil needs to be changed. Now, you just found out about this, and maybe you could go another couple of 100 miles or maybe even 1,000 miles with the oil you got and not really worry. So you go that 1,000, and then you go another 1,000, and you go another 1,000, and the engine starts to act up. But, we can change the oil later, and if we change the oil, it's gonna cost us money to change the oil, and we can just keep burning the oil we got. Plus, we'll have to change the filter, we'll have to stop somewhere, or we'll have to do it ourselves. Fuck, that's a lot of work. And then it keeps going, and it keeps going, and it starts to damage the engine. And you're like, well, I know the engine is getting damaged. Maybe if we put more oil into the engine, but we don't have to change the oil that's in there. It's going to be a hassle. Then the engine seizes and your car is fucked and you're out thousands. That's climate change. So, changing the oil now is going to cost you like 30 or 60, or if you're going to a really shitty place, like $80. $80 in relations to the thousands of dollars it will take to rebuild your engine. If you decide to go that route at all, you will save money by spending the $80 now.
And all of a sudden, the Obama administration is trying to sell the lie that this is going to save billions of dollars. It's going to cost billions of dollars.
Yeah, it will. It will cost us billions of dollars. And that cost goes up every year we don't fucking do anything.
This is the first time anyone has had the audacity to just stand up and say, this is going to save you billions when we know it's going to cost us billions. I think the same people are trying to sell us this that sold us Obamacare.
You mean Republicans? Because they're the ones who came up with what we got. Then they went against it when Obama put his name on it.
Okay. Now, President Obama was in Asia attending the Asian Pacific Economic Cooperative Summit. This is where the nations of Asia get together. We're talking about China, Japan.
As well as other nations.
Do some more of this because I want you to get the real picture. And then I'm going to take you to what is supposed to be the world's foremost expert in sea level rise. And I want you to hear what he says about the rise of sea levels. Now, you're listening to Politics and Religion. And we're talking about this today because one world government is coming. We're very close to it right now. Okay, well, stay with us. We'll be back in just a moment.
And then it ended. Sorry if I went on a bunch of rants, but the guy pisses me off, and rightfully so. Luckily, I think he's in his late 4000s, so... Anyway, if you guys like this video, like, comment, subscribe, check out the other videos that I've done, and, as always, have a good day. Now, I'm going to go drink something that will hopefully restore my voice to proper working order so I don't taste blood.